This is Agriculture Today, and I'm Shelby Varner with the K-State Radio Network. Dan O'Brien, K-State grain economist, gets the show started with a grain market outlook. He explains pre-report grain stock and wheat production expectations, as well as how international conditions could impact our markets. Continuing the show is Angie Denton, K-State Animal Science Communication Coordinator, and Justin Janssen, President of the Livestock Meat Industry Council, previewing K-State Animal Sciences and Industry Family and Friends Reunion. K-State meteorologist Chip Redmond wraps up today's show with this weather update. He discusses unique drought monitor changes and how the hurricane will impact Kansas weather. That and more is coming up ahead on Agriculture Today. You're tuned in to Agriculture Today, and we start our Friday show with a grain market update with K-State grain economist Dan O'Brien. Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Shelby.
Dan, can we start off our conversation talking about the grain stocks and wheat production surveys from the USDA?
They're due out on Monday at, I believe, at 11 a.m. Central Time. So there'll be a grain stock survey, and to start off with, and we'll be looking at what September 1st stocks were. Now, and the significance of that, particularly for corn and soybeans, is that that's the end of the marketing year. Well, here in Kansas, corn, soybeans, and grain sorghum. So we'll basically that'll give us our final ending stocks for those marketing years. And right now, pre-report trade estimates are for not much change, really. And if that's the case, if the market doesn't expect much to happen out of it, then if there is something out of the ordinary, well, then we move the market. And what has also come out of the end of September stocks report is that the USDA, by the time they do their calculations, they do their algebra, and they figure, well, what we thought we've got this crop size from last year for corn and corn, sorghum, and soybeans, and we take off exports or bioenergy usage and then see what's left. Well, if they get that number, and basically they're getting down to feed usage because they don't directly measure feed usage. So when they get that number and it just looks way out of whack, well, then they start thinking, well, I think we've made some error on the size of last year's crop. So that really is the kind of the hand grenade that comes in on these September reports. And the USDA in past years has made 50, 80 million bushel changes in the size of last year's crop. Now, whether it's acres or yields, whatever, however they get at that comes about. Now, the wheat report, again, the wheat marketing year begins in May, so they're 1 quarter off for that. But still, the wheat report number, wheat quarterly stocks number may bring about some changes in that balance sheet. But we'll see. That other side of that report will be the wheat production survey, or I guess I call it the annual small grains report. And again, when you look at the anticipated changes from last year, but that the trade's looking at, almost nothing. It's just neutral. So again, when you see, it's kind of like a predator lying in the grass. When you see the market expecting no changes, and if a change happens, then it can move the market. So the market right now, obviously by the numbers they put out, not expecting much to come out of this. But I would think that the surprise, if there is one, could be that by the time USDA goes in and back calculates the usage figures that they had compared to last year's crop, that they could find that, hey, we got to make another change. And as I said earlier, they have a pattern now of doing that almost consistently. So that's something to watch for on Monday. That report will come out on Monday at 11 a.m. Central Time.
As we're talking about the grain market, Dan, what are we seeing for cash?
Well, cash prices are low. And that's not a surprise. We're in a situation where we expect large crops. We're going to get large crops. It's just a matter of how large they are. So we're coming in the time frame now where the USDA is out in the field measuring the size of crops. They do that around October 1st. And really, as we're talking today on the 27th, they're out there or they'll be out there Monday, and also they're contacting farmers. And in a lot of cases, we still haven't started harvest yet, but we have a better idea what's out in the field. Here in the northern states and southern states and parts of southern Kansas, we're already harvesting. So we're getting yield reports coming in, et cetera. So in anticipation of that, unless we start to get a groundswell of information that, gosh, we have disappointing yields out in the field, and that would come from probably someplace else other than the central U.S. Corn Belt, other than Iowa, Indiana, and Illinois, because they're anticipated to be just tremendous, 200 bushel plus. If those reports start to come in, then it could, and it's disappointing in any way, then that could get us off of what right now could very well end up and be our harvest lows. And harvest lows for spot cash price in Garden City, $4.51.29 over basis for corn, $4.25 in both Hutchinson, actually in Colby, both 23 over. But you do see prices in Topeka, Columbus, below $4. I have generally heard of better corn yields in the eastern part of the state than in the west. So the strength of what's going out to the west probably has to do with dryland acres, non-irrigated acres under stress out there. And there you have some great fields, but you have some really mixed, spotty fields also. So that's probably in play. And you do see some interesting things on the grain sorghum side. In Salina, you have a cash price, $4.05, and the next, and also in Hutchinson, $4.15. Right through that central corridor. But you in southeast Kansas, $3.55, $3.96 Garden, $4 in Colby. So if anything, actually, we're seeing a little bit of price strength in central part and northwest part of the state. So we'll see. Soybeans, we've seen about 30, 40 cents higher prices of late for soybeans. And when asked about what is the cause, well, there are concerns about the planting progress in South America, really dry down there. China made a financial economic change that many think probably may result in higher imports into that country to make it easier for that. So that came in earlier this week and had some impact. So you've got cash prices now at harvest for soybeans. Highest one, $10.16 in Hutchinson, $10.06 Topeka, $10 in Salina, $10.07 in Columbus. The two locations out to the west lower, $9.50, $9.70, something like that. So a little bit better situation for soybeans than we had. And of course, wheat goes up and down, kind of struggles along. We have seen the wheat futures had get run up to about $6, closed on Friday about $5.81. But that would be for Deese, hard red winter wheat. But you see that again, the central part of the state, $5.79 in Hutchinson, highest price, 15 over basis. Next highest, $5.63 in Salina, one under, and $5.59 in Topeka. Other offerings lower than that. So overall, you've got harvest lows, and have been asked of late. Well, are our harvest lows in? With these reports coming on, there's sure the possibility, since we're only halfway through harvest, and maybe we'll see even better yields than we have. There's sure the possibility that our lows could come yet in October and November, just because of really no news coming out of the field yet of major disappointments. Again, if it's going to come, it'll come probably by mid-October. That's when we'll be harvesting almost everywhere. So overall, once we get our lows in, then I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, it's that we have low prices, and that is helping us on the export side. You can see that in wheat right now. It is generally helping us in ethanol production, although we have some end-of-season plant refurbishing going on, but generally still profitable to produce ethanol, and some possibilities of prices moving higher based on problems overseas. And again, we don't wish anybody problems, but South America, they have questions emerging on the size of their crops. So we're about to turn our attention away from the supply concerns, and once we finally figure out the size of this crop, then we'll start looking at U.S. demand and use, and start paying attention all that much more to South American crops. And right now, it looks like there's some positive things for prices, not positive for Brazilian farmers that could come about.
And are there other places around the world that are struggling some that could impact what the grain market looks like for us?
Certainly issues over in Ukraine, Russia, dry conditions. Russia keeps putting out grain like crazy, but yet you look at the weather maps and some of their own news that's occurring, and they're dry. They're having governmental agencies come out and talk about lower production in the coming year. Of course, some of that could be gamesmanship. If they state that drives prices higher. But the proof of the pudding, quote, will be when countries like Egypt go to buy wheat. What do they have to pay for it? That'll be where that's at. And I don't think we want to underestimate the impact of geopolitical issues over in the Middle East. That roils up financial markets. Financial markets are roiled up with more fear that bleeds over into commodities, and anything that goes on over there, you're looking at all that much more disruption of shipping that could occur again if Iran is tangentially involved, and you got the Straits of Hormuz and whatever else going on, Red Sea challenges, all of that. So there are risks out there to be dealt with in the grain markets, and unfortunately, it puts our producers who are just going to harvest what hopefully are good sized crops, in the position of deciding whether to sell now or store as they go forward. And a lot of the things that could add, I guess, momentum to the high side on these crops have to do with either geopolitical unrest or crop problems in South America. But we'll have to see how that works itself out.
Dan, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today and give us our grain market update.
Thank you very much, Shelby.
That was K-State grain economist Dan O'Brien. We're cutting to a short break now on Agriculture Today, but we'll be back with more ahead.
You're tuned back into Agriculture Today. I'm Jacob Cloughton for Shelby Varner, and we continue today's show by talking with Angie Denton, K-State Animal Science Communications Coordinator, and Justin Janssen, President of the Livestock Meat Industry Council, about the K-State Department of Animal Science Family and Friends Reunion. Angie, Justin, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having us, Jacob.
You're welcome.
Justin, start us off by providing some background information on what the Family and Friends Reunion is.
The Family and Friends Reunion is a gathering of K-State alumni, students, faculty, staff, people that appreciate the Animal Science Department and how it's affected their lives. The Family and Friends Reunion this is the 10th year for it. It'll be held at the Stanley Stout Center on the east side of Denison. Those people attending will be able to see the ongoing construction of the new Bilbrey Family Event Center, which is adjacent to the Stanley Stout Center. The Family and Friends Reunion was a result of the Livestock Meat Industry Council being challenged to develop an award to recognize an outstanding individual or an entity, organization that has had a profound impact on animal agriculture and the meat industry, both across the state of Kansas and worldwide. And LMIC spent a couple of years actually developing the award and the criteria, and it was given the name of Don L. Good, who was the department head, Animal Science Department head in 1966 when the tornado went through, and he essentially organized the LMIC to become a sounding board for the Animal Science Department.
Angie, when is this event taking place?
So this year the event will be on Saturday, October 5th. Like Justin said, at the Stanley Stout Center. It'll kick off at 4 p.m. We have food, fun. The K-State band will be there. And then the awards presentation will actually take place at 7 o'clock.
What are some of the key events planned for this year's reunion?
So it's an event for all ages, Jacob. We have our Junior Wildcat Barnyard that Dr. Janssen facilitates every year and puts together. And there's things for kids of all ages, from rocking horses to toys to he puts up a football field and a volleyball field and all kinds of different things for the kids of all ages to participate in. Like I said, the K-State Marching Band comes up and does a performance. We'll have Willie there. And of course, a highlight, because we're the Animal Science Department, is our food. So we have beef, pork, chicken. We have a milk bar. We serve, of course, Call Hall ice cream at the end after the program. And so we serve all that great food. We do want to give a shout out to Cargill for sponsoring. We're having prime beef this year. Because of our award winner, Dr. Del Allen, and his wife, Joyce, had a very distinguished career at Cargill. Cargill is our meat sponsor this year, and we're really excited for the participants to get to eat that prime beef.
Justin, what is the Don L. Good Impact Award, and who is receiving it this year?
Well, it's the Don L. Good Impact Award is designed to recognize an outstanding individual or organization that has had a profound impact on the livestock and meat industry, both across Kansas and nationwide, worldwide. It's people that have impacted a game-changing type of addition to the livestock and meat industry. This year's recipient is Del Allen, Dr. Del Allen, and his wife, Joyce. Del was a faculty member at K-State Animal Science Department first half of his career, and then he spent the latter half working for Cargill Industries and developed a lot of their food safety, which has had an extremely profound, widespread effect over all species, all types of meat, and worldwide in the recognition of how these food products can become infected and how you can keep them uninfected and uncontaminated. Del is, in my opinion, the epitome of what the Don L. Good Award was developed for, just the impact he's had on students, both in the classroom, in research, and then also he coached the meats team for a number of years. So he had a profound impact on the education of young adults, and then he went into industry and had a worldwide impact on food safety.
What role do students play in the planning and execution of the reunion?
We have I teach a event planning and communications class that helps plan this event. The class starts in March and goes through October, and so I have 12 students who help organize, promote, and get ready for the event and help at the event. We also put together a post-event publication and videos, and so it's a real hands-on experience for our students. And then we also have a variety of students, and we send an invite out to all of our animal science groups, from Block and Bridle to Cattlemen's to Cattle Women to our judging teams, and we have them help throughout the evening, either in serving, helping in the Junior Wildcat Barnyard, in just cleanup and hospitality and registration. And it's a great way for our students to network and interact with our alumni and friends, and really a great experience for all ages.
Why should people attend this event?
Well, to have a good time. It's amazing the conversation that goes on the entire evening. People are recognizing old friends, classmates. They're recognizing faculty that helped them learn a little bit while they were at K-State. The staff that supports the faculty are there, and it's a fun evening to reconnect. And invariably, you're going to meet somebody new that you're going to find a connection that comes through Kansas State University Animal Science and Industry Department or the relationship with that group. So it's meant to be a family event. That's why we have the Junior Wildcat Barnyard to entertain those young people while the parents or grandparents can visit.
Is there anything new with this year's event regarding a horse sale?
Yes. This year, the Kansas State Horse Unit is going to have 10 yearlings that they have raised on display in the pipe corrals just east of the Stanley Stout Center. These horses will be sold on a live video auction the latter part of November, but this will be a good opportunity for people to see some of the horse genetics that K-State is raising and will be available for sale.
One thing that we're really excited about for our alumni and friends to see this year, Jacob, is the Bilberry Family Event Center that's being built up there on the hill by the Stanley Stout Center. The beams are going up and the concrete's there, and so it's really exciting to see. Hopefully next year this event will be at the Bilberry Event Center, and so to see that progress and see that event, that building come to fruition, is really excited for our alumni.
Is there a registration fee for this event?
Yes, you can go register for the Family and Friends Reunion at asi.ksu.edu. Early registration closes September 27th. Until that day, or through that day, it's $30. After that, and walk-in is $50 a person.
Do you have to be a K-State graduate to attend this event?
No, we invite all friends of the department to come and join us on the Hill and be part of the activities, from alumni to just those producers or agriculturists in the area that support our animal science department.
Angie, if there's anybody out there that eats 3 meals a day, they need to be at the Family and Friends Reunion event, because this is all about food production. And we're hoping to offer high-quality proteins, or we plan to offer high-quality protein at this event. We know that the marching band members that come and present during the evening, they also eat with us, and they enjoy a big meal that's important to a college student. So,
how do you guys see this event fostering community and strength between students, their families, and the university?
I think it's a great opportunity for our students, our K-State students, just to network, to meet future employers, to meet key individuals to help them as they, go through college, whether it's for research projects or future careers, or just that network of friends. It's a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. And the Family and Friends Reunion, that's something that really thrives there, is getting to know one another. Another new thing that we are adding this year is a student edition. So we've invited 20 potential animal science students that are seniors in high school to come, and they're going to spend the day with us and get some hands-on training in reproduction and some other things with some faculty members, and then them and their families are invited to attend the reunion that night. So it's another networking outreach opportunity to do a little recruiting too, because we're always looking for more K-State ASI Wildcats to join our department.
Angie, one thing that the people that attend get to interact with the students, and I think that's what keeps us all excited about supporting the university, is that you meet that young person that's got their whole life ahead of them, and they've got the spark in their eye, and they've got some drive, and it just reassures you that supporting the university, and especially the animal science department, is a really good investment.
One more reminder, Angie, where can people go to find more information about this event?
asi.ksu.edu/family and friends. That's our website. You can register from there. There's a schedule and more information about our event. We sure hope everyone joins us on the Hill on Saturday, October 5th at 4 p.m.
Angie, Justin, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That was Angie Denton, K-State Animal Science Department Communications Coordinator, and Justin Janssen, President of the Livestock Meat Industry Council, talking about K-State Animal Science's upcoming Family and Friends Reunion happening October 5th. I'm Jacob Cloughton for Shelby Varner, and we're taking a short break now, but stay tuned in because we'll be back with more up ahead.
You're tuned in to Agriculture Today, and we round out our Friday show talking about weather with K-State meteorologist Chip Redmond. Chip, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Chip, saw quite a bit of rain this past weekend.
Yeah, we did, and it's not exactly where I think a lot of folks thought it was going to fall. The forecasted corridor of main precipitation was expected to be further west and north than where it really did fall. So I know there were some people that were pretty let down by the rainfall total, especially northwest, north central Kansas. But from southwest Kansas and the south central and then eastward there into east central Kansas to the Flint Hills, some big rain totals. We saw 2 to 3 inch maximums. A couple of areas are even localized more, but it was convective again, so it varied where you were, but we saw some winds with it. But overall, some good precipitation over multiple rounds of storms over the weekend that helped definitely improve soil moisture. I was kind of surprised, though, looking at the soil moisture map on the Mesonet here this week, we didn't quite see as big of improvements to soil moisture, so I'm thinking that some of it did run off. It was a little bit too hard at times, but overall, there was a good swath of rain that that definitely helped improve the situation for a lot of folks.
However, drought improvements didn't happen all the way across the state.
Yeah, so drought improvements this week were really interesting. As we had drought improvements across the large area of the state. Everyone that saw precipitation last week, for the most part, had some sort of drought improvement, but only reduced them in a category. And we still have drought persistence pretty much everywhere. In fact, we're up to 96% of the state now in drought, and it actually increased by 4% from last week. So drought slowly expanding in places that missed the precipitation last week, especially north central and northwest, and then the far southeast too. And we need to keep these rain events coming through to have some good longer-term drought improvements. Otherwise, this rain event was just a little improvement in an otherwise gradually drying and bigger drought issue that's slowly developing.
And Chip, Florida's seeing some severe weather. Not the same severe weather we see, but how could that impact Kansas weather?
Yeah, so the storm system that we had moved through here on Tuesday brought some scattered showers and storms to mainly north central, eastern Kansas. But that was that cold front that cooled us down briefly. But that system is now stalled out to our south and east over Mississippi and in the Mississippi Valley there. And what that's done is basically it's going to act as a Fujiwara effect, and it's going to allow that hurricane to move northward through Florida, Hurricane Helene, and it's going to actually wrap around that storm system, and they're going to eventually merge. And that's called the Fujiwara effect when we see two low-pressure systems do that. So it deepens that storm system, and then eventually slowly moves off to the east. They're talking some areas could see 10, 15 inches of rain. Some places in the Carolinas before that hurricane even made landfall already saw 10 inches of rain. So a lot of rain, which we obviously don't need that much moisture. So it was kind of nice to see it go off to the east. But what that's doing, though, is that is developing a block in the weather pattern, and we are seeing high pressure build over central and western United States as a result. And that's going to take hold and be a pretty much a direct or indirect, I guess it would be the better way to put it, impact of the hurricane in that merging the storm systems. That's the pattern that's going to hold us through potentially the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that hurricane really setting the stage for warmer than normal and drier than normal conditions as we go into October.
Are we going to see a break in that warm, dry, slightly windy weather?
Yeah, so we're going to – the problem is we're warm and dry. We're still getting weak systems that are pushing through, but they're so weak that we don't have any precipitation with them, but we're getting that increase in winds. And so it looks like Tuesday timeframe next week and Monday into Tuesday, and then Thursday into Friday of next week too are two different cold fronts we're going to have move through. They'll bump the temperatures down by about another 10 to 15 degrees, but we're going to quickly rebound after that. So the biggest impact is going to be just the increase in wind. And as we dry out, we're starting to see concerns of fire danger, especially as our deciduous trees the leaves are turning and starting to fall. So fire is going to carry more effectively. And so fire weather is going to slowly merge along with drought conditions to be the more persistent weather pattern as we go into October.
Chip, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Yep, thanks for having me.
That was K-State meteorologist Chip Redmond. That's all we have for you this week on Agriculture Today, but we'll be back with more for you on Monday.